Laura Smith, step to the podium and tell us about the three.
The first resolution is rezoning of approximately 2.19 acres from A1 Agriculture Forestry District to C1 Rural Center District. Tax map 44, parcel 45.13, located at Highway 321 and Hickory Valley Road, Lenore City, in the 3rd Legislative District. The next one is rezoning approximately 20.18 acres from R1 Suburban Residential District to R1 Suburban Residential District with Plain Unit Development, PUD overlay, 2.5 units per acre. And this is at 10616 East Coast Telco Parkway. Tax map 78, parcel 4 in the 3rd Legislative District. Also in the 3rd Legislative District is approximately 1.08 acres from C2 General Commercial District to C1 Rural Center District, Highway 411 South. Tax map 84, parcels 46 and 47.
Thank you. Anyone from the general public wish to speak for or against these resolutions for zoning? Okay?
Mr. Chairman, I'll point out again, I think I brought this up last time, on the second one, Coach Satterfield. Yeah, you read it last time, it had been corrected. The second one is on East Coast Telco Parkway. And that's a big distinction between East Telco Parkway, so somewhere on official record, that East Coast part needs to be put in there just to make sure the identification of the area is correct.
We might be up in Raptor somewhere.
That's right.
Okay, that's
I
after,
know where Henry's place was on and stuff.
that's after the 10616 East Coast Telco Parkway.
Right.
Laura?
I'll correct it.
Okay. Anyone wish to speak, one way or the other? Okay, David Mears, open the meeting.
Would everyone stand, please? Pledge to our country's flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've seen the American flag at half-mast, and let's please remember in our silent prayers the Dayton and El Paso and families affected by tragic events that went through this past weekend. And hopefully our legislators can go to Washington and use common sense and do good for people as they're supposed to. Would you pray with us, please? Our most kind, gracious Heavenly Father, dear God, we pray that you would watch over families that have been affected by this tragic event this weekend. Pray that you would comfort them during this time of need. Dear God, I also pray that you would watch over our armed forces. You would bring them back in a safe way. And dear God, we pray for this country. We pray for the decisions that this commission makes that will benefit the citizens of this county. In these things I pray, in heavenly name. Amen.
Amen.
Christie's in sick bay, so Tammy's here tonight helping us out. Tammy, call the roll.
Brewster.
Here.
Mears.
Here.
Hurley. Tinker.
Here.
Satterfield.
Here.
Whitfield.
Here.
Cohen.
Here.
Duff.
Here.
Shaver.
Here.
Waller.
Here.
Has everybody had a chance to look over the agenda for tonight?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as is printed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Tinker. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted. Reading and acceptance of the June 24th County Commission meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, on the draft copy of the minutes, on page 5, and this definitely needs to be corrected for the posterity of history. It was Commissioner Duff made the motion for the tax levy resolution, 6.4 pennies, blah, blah, blah. Chairman McCollum called for a roll call vote. Upon the roll call vote, the following commissioners voted aye, Shaver and Waller. Well, that's incorrect. Shaver and Waller didn't vote for it. It was only Duff and Hurley that voted for it.
That's also incorrect on there. That, it said the motion was seconded by Brewster, it was not.
It sounds like an orphan now.
No, it's, right here it says Hurley seconded the motion. The one he's talking
This is on
about.
page 5,
Real small at the top.
right at the very top. It'll be
Where it
page
says
5.
draft copy, it's just the list of draft copies, that's page 5.
Amendment 1, yes, on page 5, it's almost kind of reversed. There was an exact vote this way somewhere farther down, I think it's just a cut and paste issue is what it is. But everybody voted against it except Duff and Hurley. They were the two that voted for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it says on this one, Commissioner Hurley seconded, so that's the one I'm on.
Tammy, can you make the changes? Yeah. Commissioner Shaver, the changes have been noted. They will be reflected when the minutes are,
I have a correction too.
go ahead.
You know, if I can find it, because mine were on page numbers like that I copied off. On Amendment 2, over the shelving, it says Commissioner Brewster seconded the motion. It was not myself, it was Mr. Satterfield. Commissioner Satterfield.
So you don't have page number on top?
It's Amendment 2 where it says Commissioner Shaver made the motion to amend the appropriations by reallocating 61,261 for shelving. Commissioner Brewster seconded the motion, and you're saying it was?
Was not me. I also have another one too. It was Commissioner Satterfield.
Okay. We got it. Okay. Another one, Kelly?
Yes, Amendment 1, where it says Commissioner Duff made a motion to amend the appropriations resolution by removing the $145,000 cap from the Visitors Bureau. The motion was seconded by Brewster, it was not myself. That was Commissioner Hurley.
Okay.
The reason that I made a motion on that one that, against raising lower cities taxes 6 cents.
Where's that one at, Kelly? The one you're talking about, which page?
Should be like this.
Second page, very far.
Second page on the bottom.
Who did it, Kelly?
There it is.
Hurley.
Okay, that was Hurley. Got it.
For the 145,000 cap.
Yep, got it. And Harold, you had a change?
Well, I didn't have a change.
Okay.
I was proud of my vote.
All right, no problem.
Mr. Chairman, I've got another one, and this is real minor, don't know if it matters or not in the long term of things. On our page 10, it was during the regular meeting, it says Chairman Cullen requested approval of statutory bond for the new director of schools, Michael Garrett. Michael Garrett is not the new director of schools, he is the interim director. Don't know if it makes a whit's worth of difference, or whether or not the word interim needs to be added in there or not, I don't know.
Let's put the
Given the
interim
bond
in
and
there.
all that sort of stuff that's involved.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no other change, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as they have been corrected and printed.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to accept the minutes with the changes made. And, oh, here it is, I got it. New director, and we'll put intern. Okay, got it. We've got it. All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor for acceptance of the minutes as changed. Any further conversation? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. You got the changes, right? Okay. And again, Christie has been under the weather and she's been back and forth trying to get them done, so I'm glad we got them corrected. Okay, next up is general public comments. And the handwriting I can read is Richard Akeland. Step up to the podium and tell us what's on your mind.
Go last.
What's that?
Yep, go last.
Oh, man, you're first on the list? Well, okay. All right, next up is Gail Link.
My name is Gail Link. I live in Loudon, and normally I attend your meetings as the liaison from the Tellico Village Homeowners Association to your board. Right now, I'm wearing a different hat. Right now, I'm representing the Tellico Village Community Theater because I wanted to tell you about something. Pat was nice enough to yield her time to me, so I will take just a couple minutes. Normally, hitting Pat, every February or March, the community theater visits all of your elementary schools in Loudon County and Lenoir City, where we have a troupe of actors who act out stories for the kids in grades K through 5. We've been doing this for years. We love it. They seem to like it. And so, and the teachers like it. So this year we decided to take it a step farther and do something a little bit different. I wanted to tell you all about it because I'm hoping in the next month or so you're going to start hearing about it and can back it if you want to. This year we are going to put on 3 performances of Charlotte's Web at our community theater in Tellico Village. Now, if you think back to when you were a child, and that's a long time for me, there were 2 books just about everybody read and read and read. It was Goodnight Moon and Charlotte's Web. Well, Charlotte's Web is also a play designed for children. We think primarily in grades 3 through 5. So what we are going to do October 18th and 19th is have 3 performances of Charlotte's Web at our theater. We are going to be visiting the schools either to work with them or maybe with the PTA to make the tickets available to these performances. Note, the tickets are free. We're going to be giving them away. We've got to figure out the logistics of all this. But for those 3 performances, we would love to see as many county and Lenoir City children between 3 through 5, and we know we'll get younger ones as well, to these performances. We are targeting in on that age group simply because of the length of the play, not the content. The content's good for anybody, but it could be a little long for a 1st or 2nd grader. So wanted to tell you about this. If any of you are interested in auditioning for a part in the play, the auditions, everybody's pointing at everybody else, okay. Auditions are August 12th through the 14th at the theater. And I'm trusting that you'll hear all sorts of things about this in the next month or so, and we're hoping to have a huge crowd. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
What's the capacity of your theater?
The capacity of the theater is 136 seats per performance. So we're looking at having ballpark 500 seats. They are all going to be offered to the children in Loudon County and Lenoir City. They will only be offered in Tellico Village if there happen to be some left. So if I were to ballpark it out, maybe 50 tickets per school.
I think you have a good resource here with Mr. Tinker being in central office.
He's never there, I'm sorry. He's not there.
I'm at the
Get that.
schools, so I'll be able to tell them.
Perfect.
You also have one in at Philadelphia, so I'll be
Yeah.
glad to.
Thank you both very much.
But, on the auditions, are the kids performing in it as well, or they, what are your, or is it all grown-ups for the auditions?
Yeah, the auditions will be for adults. This is a reader's theater production, which is kind of a
Okay.
hybrid between having a script and reading it and knowing your part and memorizing it. It's got some intricacies, so we want the kids to enjoy it, and we adults will put it on for them.
Perfect, thanks.
And how many tickets did you say you were gonna do, like, per?
50 per school. First come, first serve. Oh, and we will want there to be an adult with every several children. This is not fill the theater with 50 kids. So it'll be a combo adult-child.
This will be an evening performance?
Friday is in the evening, and on Saturday, it'll be 2 performances during the day, morning and afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now, Richard.
You're not gonna speak?
All right, with the world panic talking.
Love visual aids. I like visual aids.
Justice Center, they went to 3 stories now, from 70.
I'm Richard Anglin from Tellico Village. The document I handed out, I managed to download off of a PDF file that was used about a week ago in downtown Loudon. It is a site plan for the proposed, I should have put in front of this, new courthouse in Loudon. I have some concerns. The last time I saw a picture was on Van's website, and I believe that picture showed a 25,000 square foot building. If you recall, the last time I talked about this, I wanted to know whether it was 20 or 25,000. Could be 22.5. Whether the cost was 6, 7.2, or 8 million.
It ain't gonna cost 8.
I'm sorry?
It won't cost 8. It won't cost 8.
Okay.
We don't have it 7. Unless Buddy's gonna chunk it out of $1 million.
Is it a 2-story building or a 3-story?
Right now, it's 2-story,
The jail wasn't gonna cost 16 either, but.
17.5.
Yeah.
Is there
Keeps
going to
going
be
up there.
more than one court, like 2 or 3? Yes, yes what?
Right now, there are no plans for anything.
This is very, I mean, that's one thing Jay Hinderleit, he was even cautious to issue the drawing. This is very, very early. We're gonna have at least 2 courts.
All right, then are we gonna have public meetings to discuss any of these factors?
We don't have any land yet, so we're getting the cart's way out there ahead of the horse right
According to
now.
what I read,
Till we get land, we're not building anything.
the gentleman behind me is an MOU that was approved last week that gives you land.
No, not
or
yet,
leases you land,
not
excuse
yet,
me.
not yet it doesn't.
Well, you guys have to
It
accept
comes to our workshop later this month, and then we'll be discussing the details
The
on that.
reason I printed this, so I also counted the parking spaces around it. What's shown on this drawing is 64. Now, unfortunately, it cut off the right-hand side, but if you knew what was over on that right-hand side, there's a boat ramp there. I just drove that whole lot. I don't know how you're gonna put this over there on 1.5 to 2 acres. The building size for 20,000 square feet would be 100 by 100. For 25, it would be 125 by 100. The parking lots on the left and right
would be at least 40 to 80 feet wide. You're crowding across 2 to 3 acres over there. And you've got slopes to the river, both sides, and you got the boat ramp. If you were to bring down the courts from Sugarland, you're gonna create yourself a hell of a problem transporting.
General session's not coming, Rick. We can cut so much of this conversation out. We're putting back what we lost at the courthouse.
Okay.
We're putting in circuit court, clerk
Clerk and master.
the two courts, or the court that was upstairs, what they call the bad daddy court downstairs. We're putting back what we lost.
Okay.
We can't bring general session down. We're not bringing the district attorney from Roane County over here. But again, you're so far out ahead of your skis on this, nobody knows nothing we're doing until we can get some land.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is that it seems to me that there's been movement forward, which
There's
is
been
not a
no
bad thing.
movement, Rich. Nothing's moved. Nothing has happened yet except we approved a bond issuing up to $7 million maximum. That's all we've done. We hadn't borrowed a penny of it. We even held up on a $30,000 conceptual plan last month till we got the land deal worked out. Nobody's done anything. County Commission hasn't been informed of anything yet. Nothing's gonna happen till we get all of our pegs in a row.
Okay, and I'll stop at that point then.
Be a
Thank you, Ben.
good place to stop.
It will be on the agenda for August 19th, the workshop.
That's right.
The county office building. And there's a whole lot of things to work out. Jeff Harris and the Loudon City Council sent an MOU across for a lease. There's a lot of things that haven't been decided on this yet. And there's a lot of conversation, especially in the village. 3 stories, it's gonna be this and that, it's gonna be a gazillion dollars. None of that has been decided. Okay? Anyone else wishes to address the commission tonight? Okay, let me close the public comments, and I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna do this again at the workshop, and I'll do it again at the next commission meeting. One of the things I'm gonna ask, once we close the public comments, I would ask that you refrain from addressing the commission from the public area. Unless, if the building's on fire or there's a copperhead slithering down the floor, speak up. But we've sort of lost the decorum and the professionalism of our meeting when we get the conversation going back and forth. What I would ask is if you have a comment after the meeting and we adjourn, get a hold of one of us. We'd be glad to discuss it with you. Okay? Next up is reports of county officials, department, and committees. Laura Smith. Come on back up. We're going to vote on those 3 amendments.
Do we have to do these one at a time, or can we do them all 3 at a time?
We have to do them one at a time, but I won't call for a roll call vote.
Seems like we're all in the same district.
Yeah.
Good, yours, not mine. Yeah.
Greenback is busy.
So the first one is the rezoning of the 2.19 acres from A1 to C1 on, at 321 and Hickory Valley Road, and that's parcel 45.13.
I make a motion that we approve the rezoning. I'll second his motion.
We got a motion and a second to approve the first resolution.
Who was the second?
Gary?
That's 4th district, so 3 and 4, that's appropriate.
We're close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough.
That puts us at the district
Okay, any
7.
further comments? Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Laura?
The next one is the rezoning of approximately 20.18 acres from R1 to R1 with a PUD overlay of 2.5 units per acre. And this is the one on East Coast Teleco Parkway.
And
you're gonna make the correction.
I will.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Who was second? Okay, we've got Commissioner Satterfield motion, Commissioner Mears second. Any further conversation? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, motion passes.
Okay, and the last one is to rezone approximately 1.08 acres from C2 to C1, and this is on Highway 411, and it's map 84, and there's two parcels, 46 and 47.
Make a motion, we approve the request.
Commissioner Satterfield motion,
I'll second.
Commissioner Tinker second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Laura.
Laura, can you email me the plat for that Family Brands Ministry Brands Intensity up there at the junction? I talked to Ron about it and never got it.
Okay, you want a large drawing?
No, just email it to me.
I mean, we'd have to, we don't have it digitally. I mean, I have what's on the email, but I'll talk to you.
It's coming tomorrow. I'm just wanting to look at it. Thank you.
Next up is Commissioner Shaver.
He talking, I didn't hear you. Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna start this conversation again, just like I did the workshop. This is not a personal issue, this is not a vendetta, this is not somebody trying to get somebody, myself, or any other commissioner trying to get Commissioner Hurley. Commissioner Hurley has a set of rules and regulations to go by, just like we all do. We all have to abide by what the Constitution says, what the state law says, and that stuff. I was hoping at the workshop that we could kind of resolve this, that she could explain to us, has she moved? Yes, she has moved, there's no question about that. Is it temporary? Well, she didn't tell us, she wouldn't tell us anything. It was just kind of take the fifth and not talk. So, I know several of us have talked to Bob Bowman. I actually came down last Thursday on the day that he comes here. It wasn't any special trip, he comes out once a day. And Buddy sat in for part of that conversation. We talked about what the options and what we could or couldn't do and should or shouldn't do and that sort of stuff. So you saw the email that came from Bob Bowman, and he had all the case laws and all that sort of stuff. And it was like 4 or 5 different options that we had. One of the options was that we just don't do anything. And that would sure be the easy option, but I feel like that so terribly plays into the position that people have so often. You're just a bunch of politicians taking care of each other, patting on back, and you scratch mine, I'll scratch yours, and that sort of stuff. There's no question that she's moved. There's no question that her intent was not to move back to begin with. Now, after the fact, she was briefed and given talking points by another elected official what to say to make it sound right. And that was, well, temporary, I'm having foundation work. Well, there wasn't no truth to that because she's done leased her house twice. It's leased right now. So what does that leave us to do? Do we just sit, do we just ignore it? Do we just act like it doesn't happen? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I've never been faced with this. It happened on the school board some years ago, but when that board member was discovered, that board member resigned. So yes, I moved, I'll have to resign. I don't know what you do in a case like this. So of all the options he gave us, we have the quo warranto options. That's lawsuits. Citizens can take a lawsuit. The county commission can take a lawsuit. The county commission can vote to have the district attorney take a lawsuit if he chose to. We can't make him do it, but we can only ask him to do it. So you have the lawsuit options. But the option that sounded to me like, and with discussions with Bob, that was the most neutral way to go, is the declaratory judgment option. And what that amounts to is, through an attorney, not Bob Bowman, he can't handle it because he's the county commission's attorney. And if this body chooses to go that way, we'll have to decide who or if we want to do, if we want to get an attorney, who that would be. But an attorney would take the information to the chancellor and say, here's our situation. This person has done X, Y, and Z. What's your position on this? That person would have the ability to represent and say to themselves, well, I did X, Y, and Z, here's why I did it. The judge would hear all the evidence and the judge would make a decision. a declaratory, he would make a declaratory judgment. Essentially, he's gonna declare what he thinks the right and wrong is. And then once that's happened, if he says she's fine, she's temporary, she can stay there the rest of her life. Now, she can't vote from there right now, she can't run for re-election in the second district from there. But I don't know, the temporary thing is so vague and so gray, I don't know the answer to it. So all I'm doing is presenting this information, and this body to discuss, to determine, to decide what, if anything, we want to do. And make it clear, I had no idea she wasn't gonna be here tonight. That was announced when the agenda was sent out by her.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put forth a motion that we try to pursue this. I'm not trying to throw Ms. Hurley under the bus for what is right and what's wrong is wrong. I would recommend that we have used Joe Ford on numerous times. I would make a recommendation that she sit down with Joe Ford and find out what is going on.
Joe can't take it.
Okay, all right.
I've had a conversation with Joe.
Okay. But find out what is going on and then report back to us, because I don't understand when a move is made on a temporary basis, why was the mayor or the chairman not contacted? And man, you made a statement, if she has been versed by an elected official, that is totally wrong. And that should not happen. I'm sorry, I don't know who it was, I won't ask names, but somebody stepped out of their bounds and, you know, whoever we can find as an attorney, and then resolve it in one way or the other, and let it go.
Mr. Chairman, I like Mr. Shager's, option that he said, but I also like the option that we look at is the poll warrant, that we look at the action that can ask the district attorney to actually look into this and let the district attorney decide and file action to determine. I mean, I think that's one way that we can go about it, and the district attorney can investigate it, and if he chooses not to, he can send it on.
I think that's a cheaper route, isn't it?
Well, here's the problem I have with all those minus, everything except for the declaratory judgments. With option 3, she has to go before the judge and answer questions.
What's option 3, declaratory?
Declaratory.
Okay.
If she does not, if Joe Ford interviews her, she doesn't have to answer his questions. She doesn't have to answer any questions to the DA either.
He's already said he doesn't want.
So, you know, I think if we want to get to the bottom of it, I think a declaratory judgment's the only way to do it. I mean, I know every time I take a phone call from a constituent, the call usually ends in what's going on with Julia Hurley.
Everywhere you go, that's all you hear. The
Well,
district
I
attorney
also-
option is not bad, but
I also talked to the district attorney, and he did tell me that he had had several complaints about this issue. So I think that he's very aware of the complaints and things, so I just feel like that the district attorney option would be one way to look at it and one way to go. And it says that we're making an effort to resolve this situation, because as we have said, right is right and wrong is wrong.
Well, I heard the district attorney want to take it from somebody, whether.
And I don't think that we know those options unless we talk to the district attorney too.
Mr. Chairman, I would rescind my motion, I would confer
well,
with Commissioner.
put something in motion, Kelly, if you want to go that route, put something in motion.
Now, before we do that, are we gonna incur an expense?
On the district attorney, when we won't. On the
Okay.
quote warrant, or on the declaratory judgment, we would have to hire an attorney. I mean, there's no doubt. It's a very minor thing, it's not a big deal. This is a one-day, 30-minute thing, hour before the court. So, yeah, there would be an expense. I would think it'd be appropriate for it to come out of the county commission budget from somewhere we have travel, or wherever we have some spare money in our budget that just passed. And I ain't like ridiculous to spend money, but you gotta have that. But going the district attorney route, read closely what it says. I think it says we could pass a resolution to ask the district attorney to file for a warrant of it.
File the action to determine if the incumbent is in
But he
presidency.
doesn't have to.
Yeah, he doesn't have
It's
to.
still a request.
It's just a request, but if you want to put it in form of motion, I have no problem with it. All he can do is say,
You send it back?
I'm not gonna do it, and then we faced with the option.
Let me jump in, if you go that route and he says, then, is that it, or can you?
No, we can still go the
I'd prefer to go that route first, because it doesn't, spend any money.
So Somebody make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we ask our district attorney to take action to determine Commissioner Hurley's residency.
So all we're doing is sending him the information. Okay? We've got a motion to send it to the district attorney. Do we have a second?
I'll second our motion.
Second by Gary. Okay.
Has somebody already talked to him, knows firsthand that he won't do it?
I haven't, I talked to him about the Republican thing the other day. I won't say he didn't say to me he won't do it. I've heard that secondhand at this point.
Well, I mean, worst case scenario, he'll come back and say, I'm not gonna do it, and it doesn't cost us a dime.
Yeah,
And then you have to come back and
And
do
then we
it,
look at declaratory judgment.
then go the other way.
sounds fine to me.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Brewster, seconded by Commissioner Whitfield to send it to the district attorney to decide. If it comes back, we'll have to do something else. Any further conversation? Okay, there's no money involved in this, so all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes. Goes on to the district attorney.
I think that's a good move.
Okay. Because you have to resolve it one way or the other.
Has to be answered. Has to be answered.
That's it. You can't ignore it. Okay.
I'll reach
Buddy.
out to him tomorrow and see if he.
Let the chairman handle it. Let the chairman handle it. This has come through county commission, it keeps you out of it. So that'd be-
It keeps us out of it too.
Oh, we're in it, we just all voted for it.
Yeah,
Buddy hadn't cast a vote on nothing over here.
yeah.
He gets to ride that fence all the time.
Lucky man.
That's all for me, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So I'll get that to Russ Johnson.
Probably get straight to him and through Steve or Al. I don't know how you get on the rest.
All right, I'll get it through Steve. All right. Okay, next up, Director of Accounts and Budgets, Tracy Blair.
Thank you, sir. The item under my name is consideration of recommendation to approve budget amendments in the sheriff and jail departments for revisions in job classifications. Sheriff Guider could not be here this evening, but he did approach the budget committee with a request regarding the new employees that commission approved with the adoption of the current year budget. Everyone will recall that 24 new corrections officers were approved in the jail budget. The sheriff's request was for an additional position of sergeant in the sheriff department. And he agreed, and the budget committee recommends the reduction of 1 employee in the jail, to revise wages in the sheriff's department, to create an additional sergeant in his job classifications. So then this will reduce the number of new employees in the current year budget in the jail from 24 to 23. The overall effect is a reduction in the sheriff budget of about $64,000 and an increase in the sheriff budget of $7,900. The increase in the sheriff budget is the difference between corporal wages and sergeant's wages and the fixed charges.
Wasn't there 3 additional sergeants in the correction department? It was in that packet?
That was the sheriff's request, but that was not what commission approved.
Okay.
Ms. Blair, but the net effect is a $64,000 savings.
The net effect is a almost $57,000 savings, because you've got the decrease in the jail, but a slight increase in the sheriff because of the wage difference.
Thank you.
The budget committee recommends approval.
I got a question. Didn't they have to have every person that we gave them?
No, they had to have more, right? They had to have more.
My apologies. I actually asked, why don't we hold some money back until they need it? So now they're telling us they don't need all these people. Just ask for a
You're just
friend.
making a point, right?
I'm asking for a friend.
So this is gonna be a savings of $57,000?
That's
But
correct.
they needed the people.
$56,243.
I heard that question asked several times at the budget committee. How do you, never mind.
The ink wasn't even dry.
No.
I don't mean to be impolite.
Mr.
but-
Chairman, being a part of the budget committee and not liking none of it worth a flip, I'll still make a motion we approve this just simply on the fact that we do have a savings there. But that will be the last time I'll agree to any of these changes.
Second motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Shaver to approve it, seconded by Commissioner Mears. Since this involves money, we'll do a roll call vote.
Satterfield,
Aye.
Whitfield,
Aye.
Cullen,
Aye.
Duff,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
Waller,
The only time I'm ever gonna do this, aye.
Brewster. Aye. Mears,
Aye.
Tinker.
No,
I love it when I'm not the only no vote.
you didn't vote no.
That's what I said, you're in.
No.
9-1, baby, 9-1.
Okay.
I know, it sounds bad.
It is hogwash.
Half of this many people.
Commissioner Cullen, also prior to the meeting, summary
Hold on.
financial
I
statements
can't
for
hear
the
Tinker talk,
Hold
I can't
on.
hear nothing.
Could've used some of that money.
Let it go, let it go.
Nobody
There's his
said
addition
that.
for that play, you hear it?
No. Frozen, I can do frozen.
summary financial statements for the month of July were distributed prior to the meeting, and I request the records reflect that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Mears.
Yes, sir. Mr. Waller, are you ready, sir?
Let's do this. Y'all just be that way, just do it. Just do
Thank
it.
you.
Cut me out, I don't care.
Reading a second, Kelsey Adams, Stephanie Carter, Heather Dorn, Laura Gordon, Wesley Henderson, Cynthia Lennox, Paul Rogers, Anita Stallings, Anna Williams.
Second.
We got it.
I got it.
We got it.
I got it.
I got it.
Just because you have a mic.
Commissioner, who got it?
I got it.
I mean, Tammy,
Tammy,
who got it?
I think you.
I'll make you cookies.
Tammy. Girl power.
Girl power.
It all hinges on your decision.
Tammy.
I wrote down Kelly, and that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Ask
I have
for a
better hearing
redo.
in this here.
A redo.
It's a Loudon thing.
It is.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Okay. Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It won't take 45, 50 minutes.
You know what I want, I promise you.
We had our stabilization meeting, Wednesday.
On the old courthouse.
On the old courthouse. It's moving. Like I said, you wanna slow something down, get government involved. A lot of the hesitations with the asbestos as well as the heavy black mold in the building. Next step's gonna be get a temporary roof, start the airing it out, and then we can hopefully take another step. We are gonna do I'm gonna hold a public hearing just for him. I'm getting a lot of public, a lot of questions, a lot of people thought we were gonna do an input. I'm gonna hold a public hearing. I would hope the commission would attend, but just let people vent, give ideas or whatever. TCSA conference, is in October, and it's in Knoxville this year. So, that's a good opportunity for us to have a strong showing there. Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, I don't know, I've slept too much since then. Core drilling's been signed off on with SNME, so we're gonna do our core drilling out here on the site. And just for anybody that doesn't know, 99-year contracts are not, allowed under TCA. So I talked to Mayor Harris as I come in, and I actually got the final email from Bob Bowman this afternoon, that there is no loophole or anything, so we're gonna have to talk again about it, but we're not moving at a great pace anyway, so I don't think another couple of weeks are gonna kill us.
How much does core drilling cost?
It's not much. Question more about where you're gonna get the money from.
The, greenback industry, I'm gonna take it out of the commissions.
No, you take it out of our budget. Get it
The,
out of capital project somewhere.
Stay out of capital projects.
met with
That's
a
capital
group,
project.
Mayor, please continue.
last Friday at Greenback Industries on Highway 411. And so it's looking like we may have a pretty promising, I don't know, getting their business, but actually, I think they have the lease signed already, so that empty building's not gonna be empty much longer. So that should be, I think, be an asset ultimately to that community and county.
It's nice to hear things going on in your district that you had no idea that was going on.
Yeah.
Did you not? You haven't heard anything
No,
about it?
sir. No,
I'll tell you
sir.
about it after.
You can put that in a big capital P-O. And right now, I wouldn't vote to give them hair, if that's, you know.
It's very early, that's very early.
Well, like I said, you know, it's hard to be, you know, when they decide to do something, I'd appreciate a phone call.
I assumed you knew, I apologize.
No, I don't, and I'm not mad at you, I'm just,
Who you mad at?
just in general, it's one of those Mondays where you just don't really have anybody,
Been Monday all day long.
anybody specific, it just, you know.
Mr. Chairman.
Motion to
Make a
adjourn.
motion
No,
adjourn.
no, I wanna say something
Excuse
real
me,
quick.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
when are they going to start on the courthouse, did they say? Oh,
8 years.
We had our stabilization meeting
right, I heard that.
with the construction team, the planning team, as well as the recovery team. They went back that afternoon and had another sit-down session. I put my glasses up.
Pick a number.
My arm's not gonna be long enough.
2 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 months.
I don't think it's not much longer now. I'll forward this email out, and when Susan gets the minutes sent out, but we're a lot closer than we were. So, as soon as I find out something, I'll send that email in minutes. Like I said, the next step is getting in the dry, and then we start the dry out process. And the reason getting everything out has been such an issue is because of the asbestos and the black mold. Insurance, we were going to use inmates, we even had county employees at one point in time going through some of the files that we saved out of the bottom. The insurance said, not without respirators and the full gear. So, we're gonna be safe on this end of it, because somewhere down the road, you never know. First of all, I don't want anybody getting sick. And then also looking down the road, you don't want anybody getting anything terminal or worse.
So what was your answer, Kelly?
Oh, as far as when, I can't give you a date yet.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanna say one thing, you know, I'm trying to be
Nice.
brief, I'll be nice, of course. I want you to remember, you know, some of you, you know, Adam, you were not happy, it seemed like maybe about what was going on there with the sheriff's thing. A lot of money went there over the last 2 or 3 years, and I have a lot of friends who are in there too, but there are other places that are in need financially in this county. And Kelly can attest that the school board there were several positions, 13, 15, I think, that were cut. And schools all over the county are way up in their numbers right now. And so they'll probably have to do some hiring back. That'll be up to the school board. I'm not speaking for them or anything else, but you don't have much choice but to follow state policy on how many people you can have in a classroom. Now, and hopefully we'll get great people, but usually the greatest have been hired at the beginning of the year, not after school started, some places. So when we think about budgeting as the next year comes up, let's don't just give it all to one group year after year.
Mr. T.
And I do want to say that Philadelphia School is up 50 new students, 50 plus, but 50 new students, which is an increase that we haven't seen in 6 years.
Time to crack that out of county whip again.
No, we
That's
cracked.
not it.
I'm very impressed with Mr. Darren, because he really cracked down on making sure that we had all the proper documentation. And I personally helped with registration, early registration, and this past week's registration. And we had to have every piece of documentation in place, and they had to be notarized. So I'm very impressed. There were 5 different documentations we had to have.
Commissioner Tinker, I go back to the meetings we had in October and November. There has been a change. We met with the budget committee in good faith, and I'm hoping that good faith can be carried on with a change of the guard. I don't think there's a person up here, I had 42 years in education.
I know it.
And I think if they will sit down and show the needs and show where the money's going, there's not a person that really would not try to work with the school board, but it has to be a two-way street in order for this to be accomplished.
I think that's the plan.
and not hiding, because I will say this, a lot of school board members have amnesia. And I'm
Among
thinking
other
about it.
things.
Well, that's just what I just don't want. You know, I'm, like I said, I'm not here to speak to them, I'm just saying from my position and where I've been, it's tough when you got to hire this time of year, and it's just tough.
If it's a local
And,
issue, don't count.
Let's move forward.
yeah, so, I'll be trying to work with Mr. Yarn to make sure that everyone is presented in a timely manner, and, you know, as much information as needed to see the needs that, you know, that our education system has.
Did the extra money that we gave the school board this year not,
They didn't get
Counted
any,
up.
they didn't get any extra money.
Yeah, they did.
we,
From us and BEP both.
8 pennies they didn't have to get.
8 pennies, we could have, that we could
6
have paid.
pennies.
No, you're on, they're on board education.
But they didn't get any new money, there's no, that's not new money, that's money that's.
There
that's
is
booked
some
in at
new
the-
money in.
Yeah, not $1 million.
It's now recognized on the front of the budget.
It's recognized in front, instead of the end, it was always in the
Did him,
budget.
Tracy? Smack him right in the mouth for saying that.
But what was in the paper about they got $1 million is not accurate.
They didn't lose $1 million. Adam tried to take $1 million.
Yeah, but we will stay.
It's just 4 pennies, I don't have to.
That's right, he was a $500,000.
And, yeah, and
It's
just,
not funny to everybody.
no.
I have a problem.
Teachers didn't get a raise either,
with
step
this.
raises, so other people that topped out did not get a raise. So those in the county that got 2% raise,
I didn't get a raise this
Oh,
year.
It's not-
to you school people, I have a question. The superintendent of schools presented a budget to the school board. The superintendent recommended the budget. The school board, according to the paper, adopted the budget that was presented to us. And, but all I've heard since we've done that is, why don't we do something for the teacher? Why don't we? Well, I voted for, what was laid here before me, and at what was requested. What am I supposed to do?
You're exactly right. And all I'm saying is, next year going forward, hopefully the budget might, maybe the presentation might look a little different.
Same school board?
I'm saying I'm gonna do my part to show, to assist in making sure everybody is aware from my position, you know, what the needs are.
Mr. Chairman, can I say one more thing too?
And not, you know, in any way, like conflicting between this job and that one. I just think that it's if I don't need to vote when that time comes, I won't vote. But if it's not a conflict, then, you know, that'd be where I am. But I just want there to be more open communication like David had been asking for.
Commissioner Brewster?
Yes, I just wanted to announce that Prospect Baptist Church is having its 911 service, which will be August the 25th. And it starts at 10 a.m. for Sunday morning service, and it's a tribute to all emergency response personnel. So it'll be the fire department, rescue squad, ambulance, police, all emergency response.
Thank you.
And at our September meeting, keep in mind that we will have the plaques and presentation to the five or six fire departments, as well as priority ambulance for their efforts in saving the courthouse on April 23rd.
Plus the resolution for the
And plaques.
Plaques, what I said.
plaques.
Mayor, you also had an opportunity of sitting down and talking with Bill Hart on any rescue squad proposal.
It's been a couple of, maybe the week after I got back from vacation, we sat down and thought, we're gonna do it. That's actually something I intend to put on the agenda for the workshop. We gotta start that discussion.
Yes.
Okay, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I think there's a motion on the floor to adjourn.
Second.
There's a second, motion to adjourn, a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Going home. Adam Waller has a lot of trashy candy, if anybody's got the guts to eat it laying around here.
I stole his. I don't think there's enough parking space. Well, here's the other problem.
Okay, you got it all?
That right there is the property line.
No, it's more like right here.
Okay. Well, then why are we paying for it?
Hey, nothing, yeah.
Well,
But see, we're gonna do a mutual parking lot between us and the jail. Bear in mind, parking is important. Only when
I
you have
disagree.
really trying to ever when you have big roads, rare few parking. But as